looking back on this whole past year and everything that's been able to happen, but just the journey.
The drama surrounding Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever has taken a turn that feels more like a high-stakes sports drama than the story of a promising young WNBA star. What started as excitement over a generational talent bringing life back to Indiana basketball has transformed into a saga of mistrust, medical mismanagement, and organizational dysfunction that could very well define the next chapter of Clark's career. The face of women's basketball, the player who single-handedly fills arenas, moves television ratings, and has become a cultural phenomenon, is now sending the loudest message in the WNBA without saying a word. She no longer trusts the Indiana Fever to protect her career. It all began with a moment that seemed innocent enough, a star player limping off the court. On July 15th, against the Connecticut Sun, Clark grabbed at her right groin and left the game in visible frustration. It was a scene no Fever fan wanted to see, especially after a season already plagued by injuries. For most players, this would have been just another setback. But for Caitlin Clark, the timing and the pattern of injuries told a bigger story. This wasn't just about a groin strain. This was about a superstar reaching a breaking point with the very organization that was supposed to safeguard her future. Clark's injury history in 2025 reads like a case study in medical mismanagement. She began the season battling left leg soreness that sidelined her from the exhibition. Punner on May 3rd.
I'm pretty sure I'll be in a three-point competition for everybody to watch at some point. Not everybody needs to freak out.
Then came a left quad strain on May 26th, marking the first time she ever missed a game in her career. A left groin strain in June followed, forcing her to sit out 5 games. Just weeks later, the July 15th game brought a right groin strain, her 4th soft tissue injury of the season. In total, she has missed 11 games, plus the Commissioner's Cup final, a staggering number for a player who had never missed time due to injury in college or her rookie WNBA season. And the most damning part? Multiple reports and broadcast commentary suggested she was rushed back from injury with minimal practice time, a reckless move that risked aggravating her injuries even further. Holly Rowe, during a broadcast, pointed out something that sent fans into a frenzy. Before one of Clark's returns, she reportedly had no full-speed practices.
They just have a lot of belief in themselves, and I think they have great team camaraderie as well.
How does a franchise bring back the most important player in women's basketball without ensuring she's fully ready? Scott Agnes has later clarified that she had one full-speed practice before returning to the court. That revelation was a flashing red light for fans, analysts, and even casual observers. If true, it signaled either desperation or negligence from the Fever's medical team and coaching staff. And for Clark, it seemed to be the last straw, in a move that shook the WNBA to its core. Reports emerged that Clark had cut off communication with the Fever's medical staff. She sought second opinions in New York, met with her own doctors, and refused to share updates with team trainers or even head coach Stephanie White. When asked for an update, White admitted she had no new information, as if the superstar player had simply gone rogue.
Is viewed as critical. I feel like that's just a fun thing. I feel like this stretch.
But this wasn't rebellion for the sake of drama. It was a clear sign of shattered trust. Clark had entered what many are calling a Kawhi Leonard situation. It's referencing the NBA star's infamous split with the San Antonio Spurs medical team before forcing his way out of the franchise. The parallels are striking. Generational. Player suffers recurring soft tissue injuries. The team's medical staff rushes them back, leading to setbacks. Frustrated, the player turns to independent specialists, refusing to share information with the organization. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, private conversations with other teams spark whispers of an eventual departure. For the Fever, this is more than a PR problem, it's an existential crisis. Caitlin Clark's value to the WNBA cannot be overstated.
Successful, it really starts on defense for us, I think, when we're disruptive, when we're up in pass.
She is the league's brightest star, its ratings magnet, and the reason arenas across the country are selling out. She has transformed the Fever from an afterthought into a headline attraction. driving both ticket sales and national relevance. And yet, the organization has responded by treating her like a disposable piece in someone else's system. Her frustrations are as much about coaching as they are about medical care. When Christy Sides coached the Fever, she may have had flaws, but she understood one fundamental truth. When you have a generational talent, you build around her. Clark ran the offense. The ball was in her hands. She dictated the pace. And the results were undeniable. Record-breaking rookie stats, playoff berth for the first time since 2016, and a surge of fan interest that revitalized the franchise. Then came Stephanie White.
System, but the pace and physicality and all of that, you're used to it, you're ready.
A respected coach with credentials. Vision for the team seems to clash with the very nature of Clark's game. White has publicly spoken about wanting Clark to play off the ball, share primary ball-handling duties, and to fit into a system, rather than letting her talent dictate the system itself. To any student of basketball history, it's a baffling approach. You don't take the ball out of Magic Johnson's hands because defenses pressure him. You don't turn Michael Jordan into a spot-up shooter because opponents double-team him. And you don't make Caitlin Clark a secondary option because your system can't adapt to greatness. The organizational missteps go beyond X's and O's. Photos recently surfaced of Clark in the Barclays Center tunnel after a loss to the New York Liberty, meeting privately with her agent, Liberty coach Sandy Brondelot, and stars Sabrina Ionescu and Brina Stewart. This was no casual post-game chat. When a player's agent is present, that's a business conversation.
I think, I don't know what type of minutes I'm going to get, will look like, but just when I'm out there.
The optics were impossible to ignore. The Liberty, a championship-caliber team with infrastructure to support a superstar, seemed to be making their pitch. And who could blame Clark for listening? Her current situation in Indiana is a perfect storm of frustration. She is repeatedly injured with strains that hint at poor rehabilitation or inadequate strength protocols. She is being asked to play in a system that limits her natural dominance. And she is carrying the weight of an entire league's growth. While feeling unsupported by her own franchise, publicly, she remains professional. But her actions, seeking independent doctors, withholding medical updates, meeting with rival teams, speak louder than words. The clock is now ticking for the Fever. Clark is 23, entering her prime, and the window to build a contender around her is now. Every game she misses is a lost opportunity, not just for Indiana.
The whole thing is all the girls from across the league just being in that room together.
But for the WNBA as a whole, the fear among Fever fans is growing. Once her rookie contract is up, what reason does she have to stay? The New York Liberty are already circling. Other franchises will follow. And Indiana could lose the best thing that's ever happened to their team because they couldn't get the basics, right? Protecting their superstar and giving her the freedom to thrive. The most damning truth in this entire saga is that Clark doesn't owe Indiana anything. She has already delivered beyond expectations. Sold-out arenas, historic TV ratings, a revived franchise, and the hope of championships. In return, she has received instability, questionable coaching, and a medical staff she can no longer trust. It is the textbook definition of organizational failure. Caitlin Clark's story is far from over. But this chapter is a warning shot to the Indiana Fever and the WNBA as a whole.
And I think that's just why the Wooden Award kind of sets itself apart from, a lot of other awards.
Generational talent is a gift, and mishandling it comes with consequences. If Indiana continues down this path, they won't just lose games, they'll lose the player who made them relevant again. And when she walks out the door for a franchise that will protect her health, build around her skills, and treat her like the cornerstone she is, the Fever will have no one to blame but themselves. Because right now, Caitlin Clark's patience has run out, and the clock on Indiana's future is officially ticking.